Hey beauties, welcome to Flow for Freedom Yoga. So glad that you stopped by. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 poses that I think that are great for if you're going through menopause. So hopefully you've watched my last video where I showed you 2 poses. I showed you a lunge pose and we also did cat and cow. So our first pose is child pose, as I mentioned. Your big toes are touching, your knees are as wide as your mat, your arms are stretched out. Now, out of the 3 poses, if I had to pick one, this would be my go-to pose. It's great for stretching the inner thighs and also stimulates the front of the thighs, and you're getting a great stretch in your spine. Now, if you have thighs that are tight and you have knee problems, make sure you place a rolled up blanket behind your knees. That will be very helpful. We're going to move into a posture that we did last week, like I mentioned, the cat and cow. And I'm just showing you here where your palms are evenly wide and your wrist is under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. Toes can be curled or uncurled here, depending on stability. So I'm going to curl my toes. I'm going to start with that cat action by rounding the spine and sending our gaze in between the legs or your belly button. And then lift your chest and your pelvis for cow, and then roll back into your cat. So just moving back and forth in our cat and cow, hollowing the chest in cat, and then lifting your heart in cow. And keep pressing the floor away here. And this is just a great way to warm up your spine and find some range of motion throughout that spine. Now, down dog is just a transitional pose that we're going to go into. And we're going to walk our dog, bend one knee and then the other, just to warm up our body. Now, looking forward, you're going to walk your hands back to meet your feet. You're going to draw your belly to thighs and then find a halfway lift. And then draw belly back to thighs. And you're going to slowly rise up to standing. Take your arms up and around. Maybe gaze at your thumbs. And then bring the hands to heart center. And then we're going to walk to the middle of the mat. So our second pose is going to be a wide-legged fold. So bring your feet out to a 2 and a 10. Place your hands on your hips and then slightly bend your knees. And then start to hinge at the hips. So you're slowly hinging at the hips. Come into a long spine and then bring your hands to the ground. Find stability here. And just get a feel for how your hamstrings are feeling your spine while you're in this pose. And one of the arm variations you can do is bring in the hands to the elbows. And you're hanging like a rag doll, swing side to side. But what's important here is that you keep your hip points going up towards the ceiling. Another hand variation you can do is take your peace fingers and wrap them around your big toes. And as you do that, you're bringing your head a little closer between the legs. So you're shifting your belly closer towards your thighs to find length through the spine. And just really feel those hamstrings activate. Another way you can go into this is by crossing the arms. You can take that left arm hand to the left leg, left hand to the right leg, and you may have to heel toe the feet in a little closer in order to grab hold of the legs. But this is a deep stretch. So as we get older, our muscles start to shorten and tighten. Our muscle groups that are most affected are the hamstrings and our inner thighs. This posture targets both of them, the hamstrings and the inner thighs. Stretching is one way to directly affect our nervous system. That's why we feel so relaxed when we stretch. All right, so slowly bringing your hands to your hips as your knees are bent and coming up to standing. And then heel toe the feet in. Nicely done. All right, we're going to move on to the third pose. Just walking my legs out here. So feel free to walk your legs out and make your way to the ground. I'm going to come onto your belly. We're moving into Sphinx pose. Now you want all 10 toenails on the ground. And I'm going to just show you the front, how we want the arms. We want those forearms and the palms on the ground. And if you connect opposite elbows, that's where how wide the arm should be out. So you connect opposite elbows and then you slowly bring the hands out, pressing down through the forearms, finding length through your neck. And I somewhat hollow the chest and take your gaze to the ground. Now, the Sphinx pose is a great way to strengthen the lower back. It is a great chest opening posture that stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. This pose can be both energizing and rejuvenating, and it is considered a mini back bend. Keeping your toes on the ground, finding length of the neck, and just enjoy your stretch here. Keeping your breath active. All right, now we're going to move into a counter pose. Just bringing your head to the mat, maybe sway the legs back and forth like a windshield wiper. Great counter pose when you've done some sort of a back bend. Now making our way back to our child pose. Bringing the big toes to touch, hips go back, arms reach out. Second great counter pose. And like I mentioned earlier, this also stretches the inner thighs and stimulates the front of the thighs. And of course, it stretches out your spine. Nice stretch here. All right, guys, I hope you've enjoyed those 3 poses, wide-legged fold, child pose, and Sphinx. Leave a comment. Let me know if these are working for you guys. But most of all, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Until we meet again, bye.